Okay, rolling, take one.
From day one. Okay, wow, that's really going back to my memory.
I'm Barbara Johnson. I was the first employee here at Bacardi. I had just gotten married, came from New York, went to a employment agency, and they said, well, we have this new company coming. That was probably in around the 1970-ish, because I remember I had my second child. I probably didn't even know what Bacardi was. You know, it was a job, I think, right initially. You know, it wasn't like, oh, wow, I'm working. Like today, if someone got a job at Bacardi, like my grandson worked here for 2 summers, and it was like, wow.
When I started, Bacardi was a group of companies. There's 5 separate companies. They were run separately by different family members, and everybody did their own thing. Past that, my start time was, we started the groundwork to bring the 5 companies together to form the holding company in Bermuda. So on June 19th, 1992, we had our first shareholders meeting of Bacardi Limited in Bermuda. And that was the beginning of really this company working as a consolidated group and opening the door so we could buy Martini and Rossi, Dewar's Scotch, Bombay Sapphire, and on and on. It would not have happened if we hadn't done that merger of the 5 separate companies.
Without a doubt, the acquisition of Martini and Rossi was the biggest step forward for Bacardi. That started us on the road to becoming a global company. Prior to that, we were sort of 5 independently operating companies, but acquiring Martini made us start to think globally and got us into that game.
Oh my goodness, those were really exciting times. So for 3 years before that happened, I got to see what the company was like, and then I got to see the transition, and it was mind-blowing. It was like overnight, the company went from being a multinational with 1 brand operating in 5 companies to being a global company with more than 200 brands and labels and operating in over 40 countries. So that was an amazing journey. And to be here in Bermuda, we were at the epicenter of all that happening. And of course, from there, it just snowballed, and all kinds of other acquisitions and learning the language of different categories of spirits. So it was an interesting journey, that is for sure.
I had the best possible ride you could have in IT with Bacardi, because we saw everything. We went from no computers. I remember one time sitting in the office back in the corner there thinking, geez, if I could just get a color screen, and this wasn't on a laptop, this was on my desktop, but if I could get a color screen, that would be really neat. I remember sitting in the Hotel du Rhone in Geneva with my Ericsson phone downloading data at 9600 baud. Look it up to see how slow that is. But that is basically crawling on your belly compared to what a world-class sprinter does today. That's the speed of data transfer. So we went from that to servers to in the cloud, so the whole circle.
I've been working with Bacardi brand since 2005 in many different capacities, starting off as the brand manager, portfolio manager, and now brand ambassador. And over the last 20 years, one of the things that I'm really been proud of to be involved in is Bacardi's brand's introduction to Bermuda and the engagement with the hospitality industry.
I think the 2 moments in my career that I would like to remember is when we launched the Bacardi Scholarship and Bursary Program back in 2006, as well as the launch of the Shake Your Future program in 2023. Those 2 moments in time for me really spoke to the person that I think I am today, and that is a servant leader, seeing and believing in people encouraging people to be the best that they could possibly be. And it really hasn't been much about my success. It's about seeing how others have been able to take opportunities that the company has been able to afford them and make the best of those opportunities for themselves.
I think the biggest milestone I've seen here is our Shake Your Future program, bringing the Bermudian bartenders to an international experience and international certification.
My story is quite unusual because I had the good fortune of being in the right place at the right time and knowing the right people. But I got my foot in the door and I got an incredible role as Director of Corporate Affairs, which also means doing events, doing communications, PR, and also working with our shareholders and a lot of our senior leadership here. But it also means getting an in-depth knowledge about the culture and the brands and being able to share those stories with others in the community. So it was incredible.
A top global company is going to provide the opportunity to have really exciting careers, careers that are going to be diverse and fulfilling and varied and fun and exciting. And certainly Bacardi provided all that because it's a spirits company. It's going to be a fun, exciting company. But that's going to take you through day to day. But that's not the sauce. The sauce is what Bacardi has, and Bacardi has a culture that really keeps you here. I mean, I was here for 30 years and it's because of the culture. It's a family-focused culture that really cares.
I've worked at Bacardi for 35 years. I started in 1990 at the age of 21. I started Bacardi as a messenger and I only wanted to get my foot in the door. So what I did was I worked for a messenger for Mr. Jimmy Amos for about 6 months. After 6 months, I moved into the finance department where I have been ever since. I was getting married that year, and what I wanted to do was I invited Bacardi to my wedding. I didn't really know anybody. I just knew that it was a family company, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I was getting married and just invite everybody. So I invited everybody, gave them my invitation. I had my gifts at Blocks. And when my family went to Blocks to get my gifts or buy me a gift, they found out that Bacardi had bought all the gifts. So there was nothing left for family to actually buy. And that is what I call family, Bacardi.
The culture at Bacardi is unique. It's a family culture, a Cuban family culture, which is probably even stronger. And that really impacted everything that we did. Leadership culture comes from the top. And when I started at Bacardi with Eduardo Cotillas running this office, it was family. It was about family, and that really shaped everything that you did.
This job, this company, gives you a sense that you're an owner of the company. You own the business to some sense, to some degree, and that trust that the family puts in you and the rapport they build up with you over the years is hugely important and valuable for me as a person. That they look to me to take care of things for them, take care of their finances for them, and all in the setting that my family, my wife, my kids, are part of this larger Bacardi family.
We have a saying in Bermuda, we're all cousins, and here we use the Spanish primos. And there's a depth to that. There's an understanding to that. It's not an English pleasantry we use.
And if I think about the cultural pillars that we have, and we have 3, so fearless, founders, and family, I think the one part of that pillar that really stands out for me is family. And by the extension of exchanging the name of employee for Primos, we've actually extended the Bacardi family to everyone who now works at Bacardi by virtue of the fact that we're all cousins. Hey, cousin.
So this is the most unique culture I have ever been a part of. I came out of the financial services industry, and it was very hierarchical. It was very sterile in some ways. When I came here, it was quite unique because your senior leadership, including the CEO of the entire company, is sitting across from you, is having lunch with you at the dining table. There's so much access. So that was very unique and different. And also, you know, again, back to those typical onboarding materials. The onboarding materials were all about talking about how we foster connections, how we make moments matter, how we make memories. I'll never forget a line in the onboarding document that says, if it isn't broke, break it and make it better. And I was like, since when does a company want you to come in and break stuff?
You know, I worked for Bacardi for 30 years. I was in this office, 8 hours or more a day, and then extra time as needed. So that's a huge impact on my life. I only worked for 37 years, and 30 was with Bacardi. You know, it had a huge impact on the way I saw things, the way I saw business, the way I learned about business. And now, after I've been retired, I still mentoring for a number of years, and now I've got my children. And the reflections I give them on business, on life, a lot of us was from what I learned at Bacardi, from being here.
There's a story here of not just the company, it's not just the brands, it's not just the family, but it's a combination of all. And this space, when you come into this space and you see above the stars and you see the bar and you see the primos that are around, opening up that space so that people know we're not just a company that's hidden behind. This is a family. This is heart and soul.
You know, Bacardi was led by a group of visionaries that included Facundo Bacardi and Amalia Bacardi, the woman behind the scenes. And as we reflect on our legacy and think about those steps, those struggles that got us to where we are today, it takes a visionary to do that. And so, you know, as we move towards the future, we seek out those with that same spirit, with that visionary spirit within our own community. And it's been incredible to partner with local artists, authors, performers to bring the Bacardi legacy to life today.
This is an exciting time to be here in this office. 60 years, that's an amazing milestone, and I hope that everyone appreciates how lucky they are, fortunate they are to work for such a caring, good company.
Bacardi, happy 60th anniversary. No other company that I know of could do it in the way that you will do it, in the style that you will do it. Make it the best ever.
Happy 60th to Bacardi. I really appreciate you, and I definitely think we are family.
I want to wish Bacardi Limited, Bacardi International, the Primos that have made this company what it is, the family members that have made this company what it is. I want to wish you a happy 60th birthday. I say birthday, not just anniversary, but a rebirth, a new start. Happy 60th.
Cheers to 60 years and hopefully many, many more.
Happy 60th birthday, Bacardi, and thank you for all that you've done for me and my family.
I wish this company, hope it keeps doing well many years ahead. It's also my 60th wedding anniversary. Well, because that's how I ended up here in Bermuda.
To Bacardi, on your 60th anniversary, your 60th birthday, this is your birthday song. It isn't very long. And I'm going, keep rolling. You got lots of film, it's digital, I know that. 60 years for Bacardi here in Bermuda is a long time. I mean, that's just, a little older, a little younger than I am, and I spent half of that time working for the company. So it's been a great ride. Bermuda, cannot thank Bacardi enough for everything that they've done in those 60 years. All the contributions have been immense in all areas. And Bermuda is very lucky to have had a company as good as Bacardi here. And I hope that they're here for another 60.